Well, this week's Bushel Up, we were hoping to be coming to you from our fields. Unfortunately, or fortunately, woke up Sunday morning to nice 8 inches of snow. A lot of areas got anywhere from 4 to 10 inches. And if you didn't get the snow, you got a little bit of rain. So we'll definitely take the moisture. We appreciate that. A lot of the reports coming in from the field, taking soil samples, doing field work is, hey, good moisture in the top 8 inches, maybe that top 12 inches, but definitely still very dry below that. So we definitely still have some concern, especially in our dryland areas with our subsoil moistures. And so we'll take what moisture we can get. So don't be mad when we get that moisture event. We'll just work around it for a while now. One thing I do want to talk about is soybean pre-emerge herbicides. Typically every year I walk several complaints where we have some damage, and by label, when we look at our group 14s, our authority classes, our Valors, the Spartans that we use a lot in our soybean pre-emerge herbicides, we can put those up to soybeans cracking. However, what we see is we're at risk of a splashing effect if those beans come out of the ground. That herbicide hasn't adhered to the ground, we get a rain and we splash up and get some injury. The other concern is if you put those too close to your planting window, we get that rain event as those soybeans are trying to emerge. We get that wash down effect or put that in the root zone, and that really slows beans up. Sometimes it'll actually kill them, and so we want to avoid that if at all possible. So the recommendation I have is try to get those soybean pre-emerge herbicides on now, once the weather cooperates with us. With the cooler soil temperatures, we don't have to worry about degradation of the chemical as fast as we do later on with our pre-emerge. So putting it out here, you're 14 days ahead of planting, trying to time that window, give it a chance to get some moisture, adhere to the ground, kind of break down or create that barrier instead of getting that concentration, can help you avoid those injuries. And also you'll see your soybeans grow a little bit faster. They're not trying to metabolize that big chunk of chemical right there as they're coming out of the ground. So just something we like to see. I mean, I think every year I can remember, there's some scenario where even though it's allowed by label in a lot of cases, we just put ourselves in that situation where we're getting really tight to our planting window. So get those out ahead of time if we can. Especially if you're spiking something like Sharpen in, then we do have to adhere to a 14-day window anytime we up that rate over the labeled rate or try to spike something. And these are great chemistries, they're great herbicides for controlling waterhemp. Palmer, those are our main weeds that we're battling. So we definitely want to use them, but we just want to make sure we try to avoid putting ourselves in a situation where we see some injuries. So with that, hopefully next week we're outside playing in the dirt. We'll look forward to seeing you next week on Bushel Up.